Hello, and welcome to my guide on what division you should join in the Galactic Empire. So, you are like me. You are a lonely E3 private first class. Kinda sucks, doesn't it? But the number one way to rank up in the Galactic Empire, to become an officer, that's the main goal of everybody, to become an officer. Right here, second lieutenant. Well, there's nobody there. This group's not completely full. But still, that's your goal. That's pretty much everybody's goal. And the best way to get there, well, there's actually two good ways. That's the Officers Academy is the number one. It's the first thing people think of. It's the first thing that, you get a feel for it. Here it is, right here. It's not a division. We'll talk about it more later. It's cool. But you want to become an officer. An Officers Academy is not open. What are you going to do? Well, the number one best way to get into an officer position without joining the Officers Academy is becoming a division. Or, I said that wrong. Is joining a division. So, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 divisions currently that you could join. Well, make it technically 5. Imperial security, I don't believe that's open yet. We'll talk about that last, okay? So, let's talk about every single division. Which one's right for you? What are the perks? What are the requirements? So let's get into it. Alright. The first division we are looking at is the 501st Imperial Legion, and on Discord as it's known, Vaders Fist. It's a stormtrooper legion under the command of the Sith Darth Vader. The legion predates the Galactic Empire. Its origins go back to the Clone Wars era. So, it's quite old, it's quite original. The responsibilities is tasked with assisting standard Imperial armed forces personnel with extra firepower and their specialized combat training. They are able to combat larger threats than what regular Imperials are. So basically, they're the main kind of infantry for the Galactic Empire. So expect to do a lot of shooting, but you don't need to be an elite shooter to do it. The perks are as following. I do not believe these have released yet. I do not believe they're in the game, but these should be in the future. Surge. It's when you're able to brace your gun, giving you a temporary damage and rate fire boost. So, damage boost, rate of fire boost. Pretty decent. Jack boot. You brace your armor, granting you temporary reduced incoming damage. Again, pretty cool. Vaders Fist. If you are close to Vader, you and Vader gain a significant and health boost. Jeez, they did not read this. Anyways, in order to join, you need to be an E3 specialist. But it's kind of odd, is I believe that E3 is not that. E3 is private. Huh. Well, they haven't messed up. I believe they just copied the description from GAR. Anyways, how would I rate this group? I would probably give it a 6 out of 10. The perks are very niche. How often are you gonna use these abilities? Especially Vader's Fist. Well, it does sound extremely powerful. In a group of 185 members where the Darth Vader guy barely gets on at all, it's pretty rare you're going to be using this. I believe it's a good starter kind of division, and I recommend you join it if you want to get a feel. The truth is, there's really no benefit to joining just if you're looking at perks. I'm sure it's nice community and crap, but yeah, that's what I think. Next up, we have the Imperial Scout Troopers. They're specially trained stormtroopers of the Imperial Army Stormtrooper Corps. And what does this mean? They're essentially scouts. Scouts are tasked with advanced Renaissance missions. I do not believe I said that right. They are also the only division equipped with speeders. Speeders are not in the game yet. This is not true. Which allows them to swiftly position them behind enemy lines in order to quickly gather and report high-value intelligence to the Imperial Armed Forces. The perks are as following. Zoom allows you to zoom out further than regular users. Spotter allows you to spot enemies in your vision of sight. All of your allies can see. Mapper allows you to see all players on the minimap. And Advanced Spotter allows you to mark any enemy on the minimap, regardless of where they are. These perks are not in the game yet. But rank requirement, E3 Specialist. Again, this is probably wrong. I believe it is only E2, which is private, which Viking Law should update these. Come on, Viking Law. I doubt you're watching this, but seriously. And they did say in a Discord announcement that they are working on Imperial Scout Troopers snipers. So yeah. And a big part of the Scout Troopers are simply going outside of the base, going exploring, going camping. It's essentially, you're going to kill a lot of rebels and civilians. Pretty much it. The perks are, I would say, worse than what I just did, which was the Vaders Fist, 501st. Because, seriously, Zoom allows you to zoom out farther than regular users, so cool. Spotter allows you to spot your enemies in your vision of sight. All of your enemies can see the marks. All of your allies can. Not exactly useful because in this game, you could see the bullets being shot, so like, you see a bullet coming from here, I think you should know the direction. Mapper allows you to see a mini-map, essentially. And Advanced Spotter allows you to mark enemies on the mini-map, regardless of where they are. Overall, I would say these are pretty useless powers. They aren't even in the game, and they really sound kind of trash. The speeder isn't out. The sniper isn't out. Think of it as the 501st, because it's basically, you know, just another infantry kind of crap. Until, of course, they add the perks. They did say that the Death Troopers, which we will go up next, have a lot of abilities which correspond with the Scout Troopers. Talk about that more later when we get to them. What I would rate this, again, is 6 out of 10. Really not that great. Kind of niche, kind of mediocre. That's what I think. Tell me what you think. Yeah. Next up, we have the Coruscant Shock Troopers. Information. Shock Troopers are specialized stormtroopers who serve as a security police force on the planet Coruscant. Responsibilities. The Shock Troops, that's not troopers. God, this game has a lot of spelling errors. Are tasked with policing and enforcing the law in Coruscant. Their daily missions are very diverse as shock troopers have to adapt to every situation that arises. Shock troopers are also tasked with counter-sabotage operations. Shock troopers are essential to all personnel that operate in Coruscant. Don't know what a shock trooper is? Coruscant Guard is basically what it is from GAR. Perks are as following. Eyes for crime, you see wanted users by default. And wanted users are most likely KOS, kill on sight players. Probably highlighted or something, I don't know. Really? Okay, perk. Diffuse. You can diffuse explosive. Probably not too useful either. Not now, at least, because there's no explosives in the game. Wanted, you could place users on the wanted list. Okay, so they kind of work together. Border control, you could set border tasks. Interrogation, you could force players into the interrogation room. And chase, you run faster than normal players. Requirements to join, again, it's wrong. It's probably E3 private first class, but I don't know exactly. I would rate this a solid 7 out of 10. Ice for Crime and Wanted really work well together, but say you're the only shock trooper in the game, it's gonna be pretty useless. So that's already two a bit perks kind of useless. Diffuse, very niche, very once in a 30 minutes, 60 minutes, not exactly too useful. Border Control, I'm not exactly sure what that is. I do not believe the perks are in the game yet. Again, Interrogation, you can force players to the interrogation room. Is this really going to be useful? No, it's more for roleplay than anything else. And Chase, you run faster than normal players. It's kind of pathetic that the best perk is Chase, where you run faster than normal players. And it's even more pathetic that that's the best perk we've read so far. These do not have a cuff, I believe, which really sucks, but they have a very powerful weapon. I've been killed countless times by this weapon, and it does so much damage. You will not believe it. You will not believe it. Overall, I say join it. Sounds fun. Sounds cool. So, give it a try. Okay, next up we have a very special one. The Emperor's Royal Guards. Information. The Emperor's Royal Guards, also known as the Imperial Royal Guard, is an elite unit whose members serve as personal bodyguards. Responsibilities. The Emperor's Royal Guard is tasked with protection of high-value personnel in the Galactic Empire, the Emperor included. They also able... Jeez, another spelling mistake. They also able to assist combat divisions when hostile forces are an immediate threat to their protectee. Perks, I just want to say these are the best perks in the game. They are so incredibly useful. Force sensitive, you are force sensitive and could use force powers. This is not in the game yet, of course, these perks aren't even in the game. That's insanely powerful though. These force powers, assuming they're like GAR, are going to cost 1,000 Robux each. And getting them for free, pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. Kill zone, you could set the kill zone for your protectee. All players see this, so, they walk in that kill zone, you kill them. It doesn't matter who they are. That's also super good. Double jump. You can double jump, of course, pretty self-explanatory, but honestly, really good as well. It's going to be super useful. And Lifeline, your protectee has increased health when you are close. Also really good. By far the best perks in the game. There is no division that currently competes with this. Now, what are the cons to this great division, though? First off, if there is an officer in the game, that means a second lieutenant or above, you have to protect them. You have to. Doesn't matter what you were doing before, you have to go and protect them. That's pretty much the only con. A big thing is, this is E5 Sergeant. Really high standard. I'm not even that yet, and I've been playing for a solid 4 or 5 days now. Overall, I would say that the tryout is probably going to be insanely difficult. It's probably very selective. I would rate this a solid 9 out of 10. Best perks, best crap, but I believe it is very demanding. It's not exactly the most fun division. You do have a lot of intimidation, great perks though, and a great gun. So overall, I would say, try it if you like a more serious experience in the game. Finally, we have the Imperial Death Troopers. Information. Death Troopers are an elite variant of the Galactic Empire Stormtroopers specializing in stealth, espionage, and lethality. Responsibilities. The Death Troopers operate behind enemy lines and are tasked with causing havoc in enemy combat lines, as well as taking out high-value hostile personnel through swift and accurate operations. Okay, sounds cool. Kind of like the scout, and you'll see why. Perks, stealth, you can become invisible for a limited time. Guerrilla warfare, you have increased walk speed in tunnels. Strike, you could call in artillery strikes. There needs to be at least 3 people in the scout division in the game for this to be possible. And shapeshift, look like any of the hostile forces in game. This is also an E5 sergeant requirement. But compare it to the Red Guard, which is also extremely selective. This is also extremely selective here. I would say it's not worth it in the slightest. I would rate this as the worst division so far. Guerrilla warfare is just a worse version of chase. Strike, you need 3 scouts in the game, and for a game where you respawn in 10 seconds, and this thing probably takes God knows how long to recharge, probably gonna be pretty useless. Stealth, you can become invisible for a limited time. Oh, pretty niche, pretty niche. When am I gonna need to use this? Seriously, when? Like, try to ambush somebody? I mean, yeah, that's cool, but, like, you know, I'm gonna kill one person at a time, then I'm gonna get shot by another rebel. It seems really, really useless to me, and Shapeshift, look at, like, any of the hostile forces in-game, is the best perk they have, but I do not know if this is true or not, but I do believe it is restricted for, like, Enforcer, Executor, Senior Death Trooper. I'm not sure, do not take my word for it, but I did hear this. I would rate this division a 5 out of 10. Do not join this division. It is severely overrated. I'm assuming that your requirements, like your patrols you have to do every week, are insanely high. I would not join this. Seriously. At least not yet, until they give some sort of buff to everything. The skin is the only thing that they got going for them that looks cool. The requirements too high, and compare it to the Royal Guard, Imperial Royal Guard, it's nothing. Pathetic. This is overrated. Okay, 5 out of 10. That's an F grade. At least they didn't have a spelling mistake in theirs. And last but not least, the Imperial Security Bureau. Information: the Imperial Security Bureau is a law enforcement and intelligence agency of the Galactic Empire that is charged with matters of internal state security, external security affairs, ensuring the loyalty of citizens to the Empire, responsibilities, counter corruption, external espionage, and surveillance. Perks: surveillance. You have access to CCTV cameras all across the city. All other perks are restricted, so you cannot know them unless you are a part of the Imperial. God, I'm so bad at talking. Imperial Security Bureau. Okay. Requirements: await for a recruitment notification in the communications server. I don't know what that means. Sounds cool. I like this. I hope to be part of it, but rank requirement NA. So, this division, I do not know much. Do not take my word for it. This is not something you should be listening to. I believe this is going to be very, very roleplay heavy. It's going to be very serious. It's going to be very roleplay heavy. I just do not see... Like, if you're not heavily invested into the game, I would not say join. It's probably going to be boring. But I don't know. For all I know, they could have a perk that lets them turn into like a flying gorilla and kill like 1,000 creatures. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I would rate this, I don't know, out of 10. So yeah. And we'll have the conclusion up next. Okay. We are here. We are back. Now, I've rated every single division. And you may think, you were quite a bit harsh. And I was, I must admit. But the truth is, the perks are pathetic in every single one of these. I do not understand why there just was not a simple perk of, like, for the 501st Vaders Fist, give them a 5% damage increase. I don't see how that's hard. For Scout Troopers, give players they hit a bigger hitbox or something. You know, they're supposed to be more accurate and crap. Coruscant Shock Troopers, you remove the detain! You remove the detain. Bring it back. That was the best part about Coruscant Guard. Emperor's Royal Guard, perfect. Perfect. Love you. Imperial Death Troopers, I don't even know what to say. So bad. That's pretty much it. I would recommend, if you want to join any, I would join the Scout Troopers, the Coruscant Shock Troopers, and the Emperor's Royal Guard. Personally, if that were me. That's pretty much it. I really do hope this video helped you decide the right division for you. Now, I think I'm off to go join the Imperial Scout Troopers. See you later. Tune in a few days, I guess.